So on the left-hand side here, this is basically just a connection to a Linux box that's running in Azure. It's running a software called EvilGenX, which is a kind of a reverse proxy server that will relay the information that the user puts in to them and then send that to the applicable website. In today's demo, we're going to use Office 365. This could be used for Google, it could be used for Amazon, it could be used for Reddit. There's any number of ones down here. In fact, any of these under this fishlet column can be used almost out of the gate. And so on top of that, we can kind of make our own. And so it's very easy to kind of just pick your own website, make it look just the same, and then configure it to relay the information between your attack server and your end user. On the right-hand side, in this desktop environment here, this is basically a standard desktop that we would expect most end users to use. It's just a Windows 10, fully up to date, got a few programs installed, very typical setup. For this demo, basically you can see that I've sent an email to Alex Wilbur. We're logged in as Alex at this point. And we can see that I basically asked him to review a security awareness policy, something typical that we would do here. Typically, I would write a policy, send it over to Corey. Corey would review it. Then we'd make our decision, make any edits before we published it to the whole organization. Based on the email there, you can kind of tell, looks like a typical SharePoint link. It's personal. Looks like it comes from my email, goes to my OneDrive. I've hidden it a little bit, but there's a little bit of a link there that goes into a login.hackmeplease.com website. The hackmeplease.com is just the domain that we own it. We purchased it just to use for these types of demos. We did it in a way that would make it obvious to those watching the demo to understand, like, this is where we're kind of going with that direction. A typical threat actor would typically use something that is a little harder to spell. So it might be like Microsoft Office with 3 Fs, or maybe portal.office.com, but again, that Office may have 3 Fs in it. Those are domains that are open to the public. You can buy them. And at that point, they could be used for any purpose. Mostly if they're misspelled like that, it turns out to be nefarious. And so, assuming I'm Alex, I would come in, I would click on this link, it would open a new tab. You can see on the left-hand side from our attack box, we can see that somebody hit this landing URL. Looks like it came in from this 35 IP address. And we're going to be presented with what looks like a standard Microsoft web page. From here, we can type in our username. And this will be kind of long just because it is in a demo environment. We don't ever want to use production environment stuff for this. So we'll type in Alex's username, then we'll type in Alex's password. Hit sign in. We won't save it. Save signed in, sure. Most everybody clicks that box. And then from our attack perspective, we've just intercepted both the username and we intercepted the password in plain text that easy. Alex, on his side, just got redirected to a typical portal.office.com page. Very likely, it's got his picture in it. He is none the wiser of what just happened. He may come back, email me, say, hey, this link doesn't work. You know, what's going on there? Can you send me another one? But Alex isn't going to know that an attacker just intercepted both his username and password. This is something that's very common now that we're seeing. I pulled some just rough statistics out of our ticketing platform and out of the things that at least come to our security department's attention. I would say phishing of either this sort or slightly tweaked is roughly 80% of what we look into these days. And so without having that MFA in place, I can actually come in as the threat actor now. And I can come in, grab Alex's username. And this is more just a proof of concept here. Hit enter. Password works. Give it just a second here. And now, as the threat actor, I have Alex's password. I can access his email. Basically, I can access anything that he was doing. Again, Alex isn't the wiser. And so typically what would happen is that threat actor would go in, they would create rules in Alex's mailbox that send bounce replies and things of that nature to usually RSS feeds or directly to deleted items. Sometimes they'll make their own folder that they'll make. And then Alex would kind of go about his day, not knowing a whole lot about it, but in the back end, this user's either downloading all of the data that Alex has access to, or going farther and trying to use Alex's account to phish more and more users. Once they have a good bulk of good username and passwords, they would typically take that, turn it into kind of a dump file, put it on the dark web, and sell it to basically whoever the highest bidder is. And so that's kind of just a short little demo that we wanted to have out there. It just indicates what we're seeing and how you can kind of make your users a little more aware, so that way, hey, I got this link, it didn't work, it let me back into the normal web page, but maybe I should inform my IT staff so that way they can look and make sure that, hey, my account wasn't logged in from a different IP or something along those lines, where we can catch it within a matter of minutes to hours, as opposed to weeks or months down the road when any number of emails or blacklisting has happened. And so that's kind of it there. Again, this is something that we're seeing out there in the world, in the wild. And so we wanted to kind of teach you guys that. We're probably going to do several of these types of webinars. I think the goal is to do them quarterly, just to kind of show you not only what things are looking like in the world, but from a little bit of the eyes of the threat actor, and just how easy it is to get into user accounts or trick the user to do different tasks. In this case,
thank you for watching. Please reach out to our solutions team at Midwest Computech to learn how SafetyNet can help keep your organization secure.